We are following breaking news out of the Middle East tonight as tensions escalate between Iran and Israel.
Two weeks after the reported killing of Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, the war between Iran, Israel, and the United States has entered a dangerous new phase. And here's the problem. Washington expected Iran to collapse quickly after the initial strikes, but that didn't happen. Instead, the situation is now spiraling into something much bigger, something the United States may not fully control anymore. And that puts President Donald Trump in a very difficult position. Today, we're breaking down exactly what is happening in the Middle East right now, why Iran hasn't collapsed, how global oil supplies are being threatened, and the three strategies Iran is using to stretch this war. Because this conflict could affect everything: oil prices, global stability, and even American politics. Let's break it down. When the first wave of airstrikes hit Iran, the goal was clear: decapitate the leadership. Military analysts believed that if Iran's top leadership was eliminated, the government would quickly fall apart. But Iran had already prepared for that scenario. Within hours of the strikes, Iran announced a new leadership structure. Government operations continued, military units remained active, and the country did not collapse. Experts say the reason is something called Iran's mosaic defense strategy. This strategy is designed specifically to survive leadership losses. Instead of relying on one central command, Iran spreads military authority across many different regional units. So even if top leaders are killed, the system keeps functioning. Think of it like cutting off the head of a snake, but the body keeps moving. That's exactly what happened here. But Iran didn't just stabilize its leadership, it started fighting back. Iran launched retaliatory actions targeting ships, infrastructure, and strategic locations across the Persian Gulf region. And one of the most dangerous developments involves the Strait of Hormuz. This narrow waterway is one of the most important oil routes in the world. Nearly 20% of global oil supply passes through it. If that route becomes unstable, the entire world economy feels the shock, and that's exactly what is starting to happen. Oil prices are rising, fuel costs are increasing, and governments around the world are getting nervous. Several countries have already started releasing strategic oil reserves to stabilize markets, but it's not enough. In some places, the crisis is already being felt. Reports say Bangladesh has begun fuel rationing. Businesses in multiple countries are struggling with rising transportation costs, and countries like Pakistan and others are seeing disruptions to trade activity. If the Strait of Hormuz becomes fully blocked, the global energy system could face a massive shock. So what exactly is Iran trying to achieve? According to analysts, Iran's strategy is built on three main goals. First, protect the government. Iran's leadership understands that regime survival is the top priority. As long as the government structure remains intact, Iran can continue fighting. Second, maintain the ability to strike back. Iran wants to show that it can still hit strategic targets across the region, not just militarily, but economically. By threatening oil shipping routes, Iran creates global pressure, and that pressure doesn't just affect the Middle East, it affects the entire world. Third, stretch the war out. The longer the conflict lasts, the more political pressure builds on the United States and its allies. Wars are expensive. Markets react, voters react, governments start looking for negotiations, and Iran may be trying to push the war toward talks, but on its own terms. Meanwhile, President Donald Trump has taken a very hard stance. He has demanded that Iran surrender unconditionally. But critics say the situation is far more complicated than Washington expected. Even though the United States has overwhelming military power, some analysts believe American leadership underestimated Iran's political and social structure. Iran is not just a military system, it is a deeply rooted political network with regional alliances and internal power structures. Removing one leader doesn't automatically collapse the system. And now the conflict is spreading beyond the battlefield. It's starting to affect American politics. Rising oil prices mean rising gas prices. That means higher costs for American consumers. And with congressional elections approaching, economic pressure could quickly become political pressure. History has shown that wars in the Middle East often reshape domestic politics in the United States, and this situation could be no different. So what happens next? Right now, analysts see three possible paths forward. First option, limited ceasefire negotiations. This would involve diplomatic talks to stop escalation, but reaching that kind of agreement would be extremely difficult. Second option, expanding military operations. Some experts believe the United States could deploy ground forces in the region, but that would dramatically increase the scale of the conflict, and it would carry serious risks. Third option, supporting internal opposition groups inside Iran. This strategy would try to weaken Iran from within, but it could also create even more instability across the region. None of these options are simple, and every one of them carries serious consequences. Right now, many analysts believe the United States and Israel may eventually redefine what victory looks like. Instead of total defeat of Iran, the goal may shift towards limited military success combined with political messaging. In other words, declaring strategic victories without fully resolving the conflict. Because at the moment, a quick and decisive end to this war does not appear likely. And that's the reality of the situation. The war that many expected to end quickly is turning into a long and complicated conflict. Oil markets are reacting, global economies are feeling pressure, and the political consequences are still unfolding. What happens next could shape the Middle East and global politics for years. If you want clear explanations of global conflicts and how they affect the United States, make sure you subscribe. Every week we break down major international events in simple, clear terms. And the next update on this conflict could change everything. Stay informed, because the world is changing fast.